crowd, I think the main thing they were protesting was President Trump and Elon Musk. Elon Musk in a position of leadership. Did you want to respond to any of those concerns from those folks?
Well, my first response is until you called us, I had no idea there was a protest because we are right now very focused on what's called precinct reorg, or party reorganization happens every 2 years for the Republican Party. So that's where we're working on that 24/7, and that's how grassroots people get involved. So that's our theme. It's protesting is fine if you want to entertain yourself, but if you see problems, you got to get involved to change things at the local level. So we've been focused on reorg. We've got a big rally coming up with WRD Bill Frady. And so, that's what we were. So thank you for letting us know there was a protest. And, as far as protesting individuals, I mean, it's kind of interesting that they are not protesting the fact that what we've learned from Congressman Timmons' office just this morning is that as far back as 2015, there was information about how in our Social Security, there are actually Social Security numbers that are used over 600 times. That with the spending, the level of fraud that they're kind of finding, that Elon Musk is finding in Social Security, the level of fraud means that people like my mother, who's 94 years old, all of us, they get less Social Security because of our government's irresponsibility when it comes to spending on illegal aliens, spending that money on illegal aliens, and as well as the fraud. So if I were them, that's what I would protest, because how can you not be in favor of wanting your money spent, wanting to know where your money goes and wanting it not to be subject to fraud, which apparently they're finding so much of. I mean, it is unbelievable. You see cases of where there's a person that's 190 years old getting Social Security. I mean, this is documented, and that's not the crux of it. Really, more is just the lack. And the Social Security Administrator at the time in 2015 said that the issue was they needed data to know that there were deaths, that you could not assume that somebody who was 190 was dead. They needed actual death certificates. So this is a Guardian article that basically, raked our Social Security and our government over the coals because of just the absolute lack of, just data management that, it's clear, and that's costing us money. So if I were them, that's what I would protest. But as far as protesting two individuals that basically most of the country voted for, that won all 7 swing states, and that people are actually happy. Their approval ratings. So as a protesting against Trump and Musk, they're in the minority right now, because Republicans are very happy, as are a lot of Democrats, with what he's doing, because they're not doing anything that is against the people, but it's really looking out for our interests.
I got you. One of the things they mentioned a few times, actually, now that I'm remembering our conversations, they were worried about how many layoffs that were happening within the federal government.
Oh, yeah.
And of course that is happening.
Right, exactly.
To happen. I mean, some of them were saying that was not in the best interest of the American people. Would you agree or disagree with that?
Well, you have to look at, I spent my entire career in the private sector. And in the private sector, particularly in the industry I was in, once globalization started, layoffs was a constant fear. That's what we lived with, and that's what the American middle class has lived with for decades. Layoffs, downsizing. So the idea that these people are shocked or that think this is some sort of new horrific thing is it's mind-boggling. So the question you have to ask is, it's sad when anybody loses a job, but you have to ask is your job adding value? Because for those, if you care about an organization, you don't want to be a drain on it. So if you're getting paid to do something that does not help the overall organization, does not help the country, your best option is to go and find a different career, find a new job. It's not to want to stay employed because you don't want to suffer the discomfort of being unemployed.
I got you. I think last question, of course, a lot of people protesting today. We have the right to peacefully protest in the Constitution. Do you think it's a good thing people are letting their voice be heard about some of this?
Oh, of course, yeah. We have no problem. I mean, what is it for conservatives? It's the Constitution, which is what, people have the right to protest. We're not in favor of some of the protests that they've had in the past that have damaged property, blasting, BLM murals everywhere. That is not appropriate, violence. We're not in favor of that. But, certainly, we applaud, J.D. Vance and his speech to Munich, where he talked about how Germany's going crazy, saying that it's illegal to be mean to people online, It's, so what they're doing is just incomprehensible. So yes, I'm, have no problem with them protesting. I feel sorry for them because, as I say, they're protesting the wrong things. And what they should be, angry about is what's been happening, what we're learning has been happening to our, the taxpayer dollars over decades. So,
okay. Right. Hey, thank you so much.